pleasant good evening to one and all. Welcome to LawSikho's thorough newspaper analysis for 15th of Feb 2024, guys. Now, let us start with today's editorial, agenda of the day. We will be discussing the editorial section. Supreme Court strikes down electoral bond scheme as unconstitutional. What issues did the verdict mention? And this particular thing we have taken from the Indian Express. Then we'll be discussing some interesting news update and lastly, the legal news update of the day. Now, coming up to the editorial section, first, a very phenomenal judgment coming from the Honorable Supreme Court. It's a 5-judge bench of the Honorable Supreme Court, which gave its verdict on the legality of the electoral bond scheme on Thursday, holding it unconstitutional. Now, a 5-judge bench of Justice, Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud and Justice Sanjeev Khanna, B.R. Gawai, J.B. Pardiwala and Manoj Mishra had reserved its judgment in the matter on November 2nd. The court raised several issues in the verdict. What is the scheme? Who challenged it? And what issues did the court raise in its judgment? Let us discuss that. Now, let us first discuss it. What is the electoral bond scheme? So the electoral bond scheme allows corporation and individuals to anonymously donate money to political parties by purchasing electoral bonds from State Bank of India. Notably, the SBI has sole access to the details of those who purchase electoral bonds. Now, according to the scheme, the proceeds from any bonds which are not encashed within 15 days of being issued are to be deposited to the Prime Minister Relief Fund. It was first mentioned in the Union Budget 2070 by the then Finance Minister Arun Jaitley. The scheme was pushed as a solution to the issue of opacity in political party funding. Political parties continue to receive most of their fund through anomalous donations which are shown in cash. An effort, therefore, requires to be made to cleanse the system of political funding in India. Now, why was the electoral bond thing went into the court? So, petitions were filed by Communist Party of India and NGOs Common Cause and ADR. Advocate Prashant Bhushan, representing for Common Cause and ADR, argued that citizens have a right to information about parties and candidates seeking their vote. Bhushan pointed out that there are roughly 23 lakh registered companies in India. Figuring out how much each company had donated using this method would not be possible for an ordinary citizen. Bhushan added here that the scheme would distinctively favor the ruling government of the time, as the guarantee of anonymity would allow the government to provide consensus in the form of license, lease, policy changes, and government contract. Senior advocate Kapil Sibal drew the court's attention to how the scheme could result in companies failing their duties towards their stakeholders. Allowing companies to funnel money to political party without any oversight from shareholder denies the owner of said company the ability to decide how their company should act in the political sphere. Now, court has several issues. Does the electoral bond scheme violate the right to information under 19(1)(a)? The court held that information on the funding of political parties is essential for voting. Economic inequality contributes to political inequality due to deep association with money and politics. Money enhances access to legislator and raises the legitimate possibility of quid pro quo or mutually beneficial arrangement such as favorable policy changes. Therefore, the scheme violates the right of information under Article 19(1)(a), which guarantees the freedom of speech and expression. Now, coming up to the next issue is curbing the circulation of black money in electoral financing, a legitimate reason to restrict right to information. The court held that RTI can only be restricted based on 19(2), which speaks on reasonable restriction to freedom of speech and expression. It does not include curbing black money. For the scheme to be considered legitimate, the government scheme would have to essentially satisfy 3 aspects. This was based on the court proportionality test laid down in 2017 verdict in K.S. Puttaswamy over the right to privacy. First, the existence of law. The electoral bond key was brought through the Finance Act, which introduced a series of amendments in the Income Tax Act and Representation of People Act. Second, the law must demonstrate a legitimate state interest, which has nexus to the object sought to be achieved by the Parliament. And third, and the most crucial here, is whether the encroachment on fundamental right is proportional to the objection sought to be achieved. So, here the CGI said that the state did not adopt the least restrictive method. As an example of the least restrictive method, he cited the 20,000 cap on anomalous donation. Therefore, an infringement of the right to information is not proportionally justified to curb black money in electoral financing. Now, whether the infringement of RTI is justified for the protection of donor privacy, the court considered whether the right to donor privacy includes information about a citizen political affiliation. If yes, is a financial contribution to a political party an aspect of political information? In Puttaswamy judgment, the court said that right to informational privacy include political affiliation. Forming political beliefs is the first stage of political expression, and political expression cannot be expressed freely without the privacy of political affiliation. Information can be used by the state to suppress dissent and discriminate by denying employment. The court said that financial contribution to political party are usually made for two reasons. One is support for the political party. Second, as a quid pro quo. Huge contribution made by corporation should not be allowed to conceal the reason for financial contribution made by other section of the population. Now, whether unlimited political contribution by company are unconstitutional, the court said cannot be permitted. The ability of companies to influence the political party through contribution is much higher compared to individual. Contribution made by the company are purely business transaction made with the intent of securing benefit in return. And this was all about the three issues that were discussed. And finally, Supreme Court strikes down electoral bond scheme as unconstitutional. NITI Aayog launches Grow initiative to transform India's wasteland through agroforestry. NITI Aayog has unveiled the Greening and Restoration of Wasteland with Agroforestry report and portal aiming to bolster effort in environmental conservation and sustainable land use across India. Presently, agroforestry covers 68.65% of India's total geographical area. India-UAE Inc. 8 pacts on electricity digi payment. India and UAE signed 8 pacts to bolster cooperation in key areas such as investment, electricity trade, and digital payment platform. The bilateral investment treaty with the UAE is a follow-up to the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement or FTA, which entered into force in May 2022 and eliminated duties on 99% on the UAE import from India. As UWW lifts Wrestling Federation of India suspension, a condition. United World Wrestling has lifted the suspension it imposed on Wrestling Federation of India. UWW said the reinstatement of FWFI after it served as a suspension for 6 months for failure to conduct its election is conditional. The UWW decision, however, will lead to an anomalous situation where WFI, that is Wrestling Federation of India, is now recognized by the world body but remains suspended domestically. The government has mandated an ad hoc committee instituted by the Indian Olympic Association to take care of the day-to-day affairs of WFI, including team selection and conducting tournament. Rajya Sabha election, BJP fields Vaishnaw from Odisha, BJP extends support. Bharatiya Janata Party has unveiled its list of candidates for the upcoming biennial Rajya Sabha election in Odisha and Madhya Pradesh. Among the nominees, the ruling party has renominated Ashwin Vaishnaw for Odisha and Dr. L. Murugan from Madhya Pradesh among the 3 candidates. Renowned literature and Padma Shri awardee Usha Kiran Khan passes away. Renowned literature and Padma Shri awardee Usha Kiran Khan passed away at a private hospital after brief illness. Padma Shri in 2015, the Sahitya Academy Award, the Mahadevi Verma Award, the Dinkar National Award, and the Bharat Bharati. She was born in Darbhanga district in October 1945. Her notable works include her Maithili novel Bhamati, एक अविश्वसनीय प्रेम कथा, for which she received the Sahitya Academy Award. India-UAE ties. PM Modi announces establishment of CBSE office in Dubai, soon to foster best education. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has announced the establishment of a new Central Board of Secondary Education office in Dubai soon. PM Modi also interacted with the first batch of students from the IIT Delhi Abu Dhabi campus. PM Modi announces PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana to boost solar panel. In a bid to boost solar panel and sustainable progress, PM Narendra Modi announced that his government is launching the PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana. All stakeholders will be integrated to national online portal. Now, coming up to the legal update of the day, where Supreme Court observed that if the appellate court, while appreciating the evidence in an appeal against acquittal, finds that two views are plausible, then the view favoring the innocence of accused must be taken. Now, the court has added that the two-view theory have been judicially recognized by the court, and it comes into play when the appreciation of evidence results into two equally plausible views. And therefore, when two views are plausible, following the one in favor of innocence of the accused is the safest course of action. And the case name is Mallappa and others versus State of Karnataka. Now, that's all for the today's TNS session and editorial session. Do read the editorial session very clearly and specifically. If you want to revise your previous TNA, do attempt the quiz link that is mentioned in the video of this particular description. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.